Protein shakes and chicken breast are great, but can too much protein actually turn into fat? Today, we unpack the science behind excess protein and fat gain. Here is what we will cover. Can excess protein turn to fat? Primer on macronutrients, how carbs and fats are stored. Protein on the move, digestion, amino acids, liver. Beyond biceps, the many jobs of amino acids. No storage tank, what happens to the excess? 7 to 10. Deamination, deficit versus surplus, satiety and TEF, and a practical game plan. Can too much protein turn into fat? It is a question that echoes in gyms, kitchens, and online forums. We chase grams per day for muscle and recovery, but what about overshooting our needs? On days we drink extra shakes or add an extra serving, what really happens? Does protein start contributing to unwanted fat? Excess carbohydrates can lead to fat after glycogen is full. Excess dietary fat stores readily as fat. A surplus of energy from any source must be accounted for. Is protein subject to the same rules? And how efficiently can it convert to fat? We need to compare how the body prioritizes and processes each macronutrient. This is not just for bodybuilders, it matters for anyone managing body composition. Understanding the fate of excess protein informs sustainable diet strategy. The answer traverses digestion, the liver, and cellular metabolism. The liver plays a decisive role in the outcome of amino acids. Cells use or redirect carbon skeletons based on energy status. We will review roles of protein, carbs, and fats, then trace protein from plate to fate. We will see when excess amino acids fuel activity, become glucose, or end up stored as fat. By the end, you will have a clear, science-based framework to manage protein without fear. Carbohydrates, fats, and proteins are our major macronutrients. Carbs are broken down into glucose, the body's primary quick fuel. Glucose fuels brain, working muscles, and essential cellular functions. Carbs power immediate, intense activity. Fats are energy-dense, support vitamins, hormones, and membranes. Excess dietary fat is readily stored in adipose tissue. Protein's primary job is building and repairing tissues and making enzymes, hormones, and antibodies. Carbs digest into glucose and enter the bloodstream. Excess glucose is stored first as glycogen, not fat. Glycogen is your onboard reserve for quick energy. 2 tanks, smaller liver tank for blood glucose stability, larger muscle tank for activity. Regular exercise drains muscle glycogen, creating room for carbs before any fat conversion. Only when both tanks are full does de novo lipogenesis kick in. Excess dietary fat requires minimal conversion to be stored. There is effectively no hard limit on fat storage capacity. This is why overeating fat quickly increases body fat percentage. The body prioritizes carbs for immediate fuel, uses fats for long-term energy and structure, and uses protein primarily to build and repair. This priority system explains why excess protein is handled differently than excess carbs or fats. Next, how protein is digested and triaged by the liver to determine its fate. Protein from foods or shakes is digested in the stomach and small intestine into amino acids. Amino acids are absorbed into the hepatic portal system. The liver receives first pass and decides how to allocate them. Roughly 20% supports liver energy needs and protein synthesis, including plasma proteins like albumin. The rest is released into circulation to support protein synthesis body-wide. Amino acids build enzymes that drive biochemical reactions. They form peptide hormones like insulin and growth hormone. They create antibodies and support immune defense. They provide structure via collagen for skin and keratin for hair and nails. They build transport proteins like hemoglobin. Only after critical functions are supported does muscle building take its turn. Unlike glycogen or fat, there is no long-term storage tank for amino acids. The amino acid pool is small and constantly turning over. Excess amino acids must be processed promptly, which leads to a fork in the road. That fork is defined by your overall energy balance. Next, how the liver removes nitrogen and redirects the carbon skeletons. When amino acids are in surplus, the liver initiates deamination, removing the amino group. The amino group becomes urea for excretion. The carbon skeleton remains as an energy-rich backbone. Urea travels to the kidneys and is excreted in urine. The carbon skeleton can be burned for energy, or, under surplus, converted into fat. Energy path. Carbon skeletons enter the citric acid cycle to produce ATP. Storage path, they can be converted to fatty acids and stored as triglycerides. Which path happens depends on whether you're in deficit, balance, or surplus. Scenario A. You are at energy balance or in a slight deficit, even if protein intake is high. Excess amino acids are oxidized for energy, not stored as fat. They help cover the shortfall from carbs and fats. Scenario B. You are in a significant calorie surplus and glycogen tanks are full. Now, amino acid carbon skeletons can be routed into fat synthesis. Yes, protein can be turned into fat under these conditions, but the culprit is the overall surplus, with carbs and fats typically doing the heavy lifting. The body burns carbs first, then fats, and only later taps protein components. In real life, it is the overconsumption of energy-dense carbs and fats that drives fat gain. Next, why protein is harder to overeat: satiety and the thermic effect of food. Protein has two advantages: a high thermic effect and strong satiety. TF is the energy cost of digestion and processing. Protein's TF is roughly 20 to 30% higher than carbs and fats. It is less efficient to store, yielding fewer net calories. Protein also keeps you fuller, longer, via gut-brain signals like GLP-1 and PYY. It is far easier to overeat liquid sugar and snacks than lean protein. Verdict: excess protein can convert to fat, but rarely is it the main driver. It happens in a sustained calorie surplus after energy needs are already covered. Protein's high TEF and satiety make overeating it less likely. Focus on total calories and sensible macro balance. Most active people can aim for 2.2 g protein. Track body composition, not just scale weight, to see if changes are muscle or fat. Use data to adjust diet and training toward real goals. Base most of your diet on minimally processed whole foods. Match calories to your goal: maintenance, loss, or gain. Let protein support recovery, satiety, and metabolism. Use protein to build a stronger, healthier body, without fearing it will feed your fat.